paint them as anti-American, which is absolute bullshit because true patriots put America first. They don't put Israel first. And everything that we do to help them is putting Israel before America. So since Israel's conception, every dollar that we've given them in aid, we borrowed to give them from the Jewish private bank, the Federal Reserve, which is not a government bank. A lot of people don't know that. We have borrowed all that money. So you have to do the compounding interest. And if you do the compounding interest, we've given them $9.6 trillion in foreign aid.
Welcome back, everyone. Dan the man Bilzerian is back, and we all know the kind of damage he is capable of. We've seen him on the Piers Morgan show. We've seen him on the PBD podcast. He's joined by the Hodge Twins, who are an absolute crack to watch. Really funny guys. Anyway, they discussed a number of topics, one of them being, of course, Palestine and Israel, which he has been very vocal about. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get straight into the first clip.
Netanyahu.
Oh, I mean, he's running everything in the U.S. He's telling us what to do. I mean, he's dictating these wars. I mean, he pretty much says it. Like, the U.S. does what I tell them to do. It's crazy.
And then when you look at this drone footage of Gaza, man, it's like
it's like apocalyptic, you know. It's
look at that.
So now what are these people supposed to do? They're supposed to go back to that? You know, or actually, I guess they're now not supposed to go back to that. They're supposed to just leave their country and be completely...
That's crazy, because they said they bombed these houses, these apartments, these hospitals, because they're using people as human shields. Hamas is there. But how is Hamas in every house?
Well, let's just talk about that for a second. I don't give a if Hamas is in a hospital. That doesn't give you the right to blow it up. Just like if there's a school shooter in a school and your kids are there, do you want them to blow up the school?
Great point. Great point.
That's not what you do. You don't kill civilians. So... I mean, and it's not like they don't have like tip of the spear military technology. They could be conducting Navy SEAL operations, kicking in doors, you know, killing Hamas leaders. They don't need to carpet bomb refugee camps. They don't need to blow up hospitals. They don't need to blow up mosques. Like, I don't care if there is a bad guy in there. If there's a bunch of women and children, you don't blow it up.
They blew up a truck of humanitarian aid that was coming in. The people in the truck and everything. And they got the stickers saying it's humanitarian aid, and they blew them up and killed them. They said, oh, they thought they were pretending to be.
You talking about the soup kitchen workers that registered with the IDF and told them their exact positions, and then they targeted them? And they were in different cars, and they blew up each car, not just one. It wasn't just like one rogue missile. It's like, no, they targeted these cars, that these cars registered with the IDF and said, hey, we are doing, you know, humanitarian aid. We're feeding these people. These are our cars. And they blew them up. And, and you see these like groups, like on Telegram, they're like laughing about it. You know, they have like video of, you know, they're like holding up the passports and smiling over the dead bodies and like celebrating. And it's like, these are fucking aid workers. Idiot.
Let's not get it twisted, guys. Israel and Netanyahu owns the US. I don't know what's going on and how, but we've seen it over and over again. Whatever they need or want, the US provides. Even when Netanyahu visited Trump, that was probably one of the few times I saw Trump almost in an inferior position. Also, blowing up buildings for one person makes no sense from a humanitarian point of view. The world thinks it's okay because Israel has painted the picture that Hamas are hiding among civilians. Even if they are, it does not give you the right to destroy that infrastructure to kill one or two people.
I started doing research, and a Jewish lady on TikTok, she said, I lived in Palestine. She was Jewish. She said everybody's passports had Palestine. He said it actually existed before they turned to Israel in 1946, 48. He said it was Jews, Muslims, and Palestinians living
Christians
there.
too, right?
And Christians, But the majority was not Jewish people. It was Muslim.
I mean, they went over there and they just, you know, murdered a bunch of people. They stole their homes. I mean, my friend Mohammed Hadid, Gigi and Bella Hadid's dad, they let in Jewish refugees, and the Jewish refugees kicked them out of their own house. Can you imagine letting people into your house, like, come in, you know, we'll save you, and then they kick you out of your own home? Like, it's just such a crazy...
I think we've all seen the video of the Jewish man literally walking into someone else's house saying, if I don't take it, then somebody else will. Literally helping himself to someone else's property, and the world has allowed it to happen. Things need to change.
That is the crux of the problem. The crux of the problem to me is their view of supremacy. And it's funny because I said that to Piers, and he's like, oh, well, you sound like a Nazi. And it's like, the storyline that we were told was the Nazis were the white supremacists.
That's what I thought.
Like, they didn't like black people. They didn't like anybody that wasn't Aryan, whatever. That was like what we were taught. And so when I said that I don't like an idea of supremacy, for him to turn around and say, oh, well, you sound like a Nazi, I'm like, well, it's not what I was told the Nazis said. And I'm not against all Jews. I'm not just saying, oh, all Jews are bad. But what I'm saying is that they are causing a disproportionate amount of problems, and that I think Jewish supremacy is the issue.
How can Piers Morgan say that they're not a protected class of people?
They're the most protected class of people on the planet right now. And the crazy thing is they should be the least protected class, because they are so overrepresented in every single category. 5th of 1%.
And they've been able to work their way into our government in powerful positions.
Not just government, media, banks, and Federal Reserve, you know what I mean? Like all of it, hedge funds. I mean, doctors, lawyers, every position of power in the U.S., they are so massively overrepresented. It's not.
It's shocking to believe the Jewish population only makes up about 15 million of the world's population. That's about 0.2%. And the funding this tiny community receives in proportion to everyone else is not only unfair, but massively disproportionate.
Israel to the Palestinian people, I think, and that's saying something because Democrats are freaking idiots. Why do you think they get it and Republicans don't get it?
I think that they see the settler colonialism or whatever, and they've been programmed with this whole like white supremacy is the problem in America. And so they see that as like white supremacy. They see the obvious apartheid. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out, what's going on over there. The two sets of justice, the persecution. So the left is like, oh, it's the white supremacists that are the problem. It's the oppressors. It's the patriarchy. So the left is blaming the patriarchy, the white supremacists, this and that.
Right.
And then you have the Republicans blaming the Muslims, blaming the left. So you've got all these people blaming each other, and they're not focusing on who's actually causing the problem. To me, if it's less than 1/5% of the entire global population, they're causing like 90% of the globe's problems. Like, okay, we got an issue here we need to look into. Like, we got programmed. Like, every movie I ever saw, the terrorists were the bad guys. The jihadi terrorists. They were always the fucking bad guys. They always had a turban on.
Muslim.
Always Muslim.
Never Israeli.
Never Israeli. No. And so you get programmed with this stuff, and you see it enough, and you just, you start to think, okay, well, these are just bad people, and you dehumanize them. I was in the military. 4 years. My friends, I just remember being in there. It's like, yeah, these Hajis, and they come up with names for them, and then later on, they kind of look back and they're like, what if that wasn't a bad guy? What if that was me? What if somebody showed up in my fucking house and kicked my fucking door in? I'd grab my gun and defend myself. That's what that guy did, and I killed him for it. And I think when you dehumanize a population, it's easy to rationalize out doing this stuff, and so that's what they do. They tell the right, like, these are Muslims, they're all terrorists, they're the scumbags, they're the problem. Look, I bought into it too, man. You get indoctrinated with this stuff, and then you're just like, well, they're the problem, and then you just shut everything off. And
you know what? Props to Dan. We need more people standing up for Muslims. Exactly as he said it, for some reason, Muslims are the bad guys. When it comes to Muslims, you can use any terminology you want to describe us, but when it comes to criticizing the Jewish or the Zionist communities, people are literally getting cancelled. People need to change their persona. We aren't the bad guys here. Don't listen to everything the media tells you.
So I think that's why they've still got the right saying, oh, Israel are they're the white guys. They're the cultured people. They're they have a democracy. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. And, they're living amongst
these terrorists. That's a democracy in Israel?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so, but that's what they're programmed with. Right. It's like, that's the one country that's like us.
Right.
And they're surrounded by all these bad guys, and we got to help them. And
it's just a big lie.
It's just bullshit.
What the hell were they thinking putting a bunch of white looking Jews around a bunch of Arabs? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's the funny thing is, they talk about Semites, and most of the Israelis are not actual Semites. They're from Europe. Like Eastern European Ashkenazi Jews. And they did the DNA studies. I think it was like John Hopkins did a DNA study, and like 80% of the Palestinians are like actual Semites that are linked to that land.
Right.
And like 97% of the Israelis are not. In the US, it's open borders. In the UK, it's open borders. It's race mixing. It's, do this, diversity this, diversity that.
Right.
Not in Israel. The more you start to dig and the more you find out about this stuff, the more fucked up it is. And then it's like, oh, it's just the Israeli government. And then you look at the polls. It's like, no, like 65% of the fucking Israelis like are on board with this or think that they should be using more force. The population is behind this nonsense. And a lot of them think they're not, doing enough.
This probably explains why DNA testing is illegal in Israel. Let's be real here. Israel says it's a democratic country. It's not. It may have a minority of what they call Arabs working there, but that's literally them ticking a box to say that they are diverse. The majority of the laws are in place to protect the Jews.
When I see our leaders go over there like Trump, to walk down certain places in Jerusalem or in Israel, you have to wear their hat. Just to walk down the street, you have to wear that. Or Trump had to wear it. Obama had to wear it. Everybody who goes over there, you have to wear the hat.
Well, you want to be wearing the hat or else you can spit on.
You get spit on?
Yeah, they spit on Christians. Yeah, if they see a cross or they know that you're Christian or you have a Bible, they'll spit on you.
They told us a bunch of lies about Muslims. They say Israel's our greatest ally, but when you see what they do to Christians over there, spitting and mocking them, and they are the true haters.
And I think we're taught that, Judeo-Christian values, which is just a bullshit word.
Right.
Because,
I don't even know what that means.
It means bullshit. It means utter bullshit. The idea of Judeo-Christian values, when one group thinks that, and not just one group, it's not just the Christians that think that Jesus was a great man. Well, they think he's God or whatever, but the Muslims, they think that Jesus was a great prophet. So these two religions are actually like pretty similar. One thinks he's God, one thinks he's a great prophet, but either way, it's, the majority of the world thinks that Jesus was a great man.
Jesus, he was Jew, right? He was a Jew, right?
Well, so he, that's kind of disputed. I think he was more of a Palestinian than a Jew. I mean,
well, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
Explain why they hate him so much, Keith. He's Palestinian.
Yeah, exactly.
This is very true. Let's not forget, it's not only the Muslims who are persecuted there, it's also the Christians. We may have different religions, but we're all brothers and sisters in humanity. I've seen the video, and I'm sure you guys have too, when the Jews walk past a group of Christians holding a cross, and they literally spat at them. The disrespect is on another level. Anyway, guys, let's keep at it. Thanks for the support. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.